Hello, everyone. So we're about to start. I think it's time. So good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone, wherever you are in this part of the world. Greetings of solidarity. This is Culture of Resistance, Voices of Courage, an online cultural event of the International League of People's Struggles, Commission 10, or the ILPS concern on the rights of indigenous peoples, national minorities, and oppressed nations and nationalities, with the help of its global secretariat, the International Indigenous Peoples Movement for Self-Determination and Liberation, IPMSDL. Our event is part of the ILPS Week of Anti-Imperialist Struggle. Thank you for joining us today. Wherever you are in the world, we are also broadcasting live on the Facebook page of ILPS Commission 10. Please invite your friends and watch this 2-hour presentation of exciting performances and inspiring message from different indigenous peoples, national minority artists, leaders, and their advocates. I know you're all excited, and I won't keep you waiting. To warmly welcome everyone, here's the International Officer of Katribu, or the Alliance of Indigenous Peoples and Organizations in the Philippines, the convener of ILPS Commission 10, and the Global Coordinator of IPMSDL, Beverly Sacongan Longit.
Warmest greetings to all. On behalf of the International League of People's Struggles, ILPS, Commission number 10 on Indigenous Peoples, National Minorities, and Oppressed Nations, and the International Indigenous Peoples Movement for Self-Determination and Liberation, IPMSDL, I welcome you to our event entitled Culture of Resistance, Voices of Courage. This is a 2-hour event that shall showcase the struggles and aspirations of indigenous peoples, national minorities, and oppressed nations for self-determination and against imperialism and local reaction through songs, poems, dances, and other creative forms. We shall see performances from West Papua, Manipur, Sabah, Philippines, Fiji, Kenya, Bangladesh, Papua New Guinea, and Karen, and hear messages of solidarity from our advocates. As anti-imperialist and revolutionary thinker Mao Zedong once said, there is in fact no such thing as art for art's sake. Art that stands above classes, art that is detached from or independent of politics. The presentations from this cultural program demonstrate how the culture and the arts do not merely or passively reflect the life and struggles of the people, but on the contrary, it is an active tool in pushing for social change. In the case of indigenous peoples and national minorities, it is a valuable tool in rejecting imperialism in its various forms and asserting our right to self-determination. The persistence of our indigenous culture, traditions, and languages is proof of our continuing resistance to national oppression perpetrated by imperialism and local reaction. Even in this time of pandemic, imperialism and local reaction continues to wreak havoc against us. It has worsened our situation of national oppression as seen in the following. 1, it is still business as usual for transnational and multinational corporations and state-run corporations, leading to the continuing plunder and destruction of ancestral lands, territories, and communities. Mining, logging, energy projects, false conservation schemes, and the like operate with reports violating health protocols such as the use of protective equipment and social distancing. 2, instead of focusing to prevent the spread of COVID-19, governments continue and spend valuable projects for militarism, counterinsurgency, and war. National budgets prioritize the purchase of arms and ammunition instead of for public health. And last, it condones the accusation that we, especially Asians or minorities, are responsible for the virus, increasing racism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, and discrimination, resulting also to the denial of social services, especially access to health, and to cover up government's incompetence in addressing the pandemic. Our event, Culture of Resistance, Voices of Courage, culminates the ILPS declared Week of Anti-Imperialist Struggles that started on May 22, 2020. So for now, let us sit back and enjoy, and at the same time, learn from the different presentations. Let us gather inspiration from Indigenous peoples, national minorities, and oppressed nations who are known for courage and bravery. Our lineage of brave warriors and collective defense of our lands, territories, and communities from the time of our ancestors against colonization to the present day of imperialism hopes to inspire all of us, especially at this time of great challenges. Let us beat the drums and gongs for freedom, strum the strings of our harps and guitars for justice. Let us sing and chant for the people's rights and welfare, paint, draw, and write on our aspirations for a new world order. And like our dances, let us move in unison for greater solidarity, for self-determination, and against imperialism. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beverly. And let's start right away. This afternoon or this day, this event full of songs, dances, and poems and other forms of arts. And now to perform her poem, I Walk Bravo, here's Luisa Tuilao of Fiji, member of the Pacific Movement, Yung Solwara.
Bula Vinaka. My name is Luisa Tuilao, and today I will share with you my poem, I Walk Bravo. My skin is sun-kissed, but my body is bravo. Bravo, that is what the outsiders say for well done. The Italians think it means brave. But you know what I think? Bravo is a cell injected in my body about to explode. Bravo is a substance reaction that made my boom-boom blind. Bravo is a deliberate performance in the sky, a calculated invisible to camouflage the visible. Burn tears, they burn dry. Bravo is my siblings born a defect machine. Bravo is a gene I pass, a replicate of a poisonous culture. But you know what I think? Our island, a castle before Bravo. Castle Bravo is the code name for the testing that was held in Bikini Atoll in 1954. This test is widely known to be 1,000 times the blast than Hiroshima in Japan.
Thank you so much, Luisa. With all our indigenous brothers and sisters in the Pacific, we are one against the devastating bombing practices and militarization by imperialist powers that destroys our lands and lives. But this bombing continues, shelling and indiscriminate firing, like what recently happened to our Moro communities in Mindanao. Few days after the celebration of the end of Ramadan, the attacks by military forces with guns and armaments supplied by the imperialist military complex continue to inflict suffering and oppression on them. To narrate the Moro people's resolve for peace rooted in justice, self-determination, and without oppression or exploitation, here is Tubaw Music Collective with a song called Kapayapaan or Peace. call for peace by addressing the roots of conflict. Now, this moment, let's watch a song and dance presentation from the Single Mothers of Kenya Association, Nairobi, an active network organization of ILPS Africa. Shout out to all our friends and comrades in Africa. Now, let's watch this performance. That performance, calling for unity and freedom, is by indigenous young mothers from Kenya's coastal communities. That is part of their Theater for Rights Tool program. And these dance and melodies are symbols of the long, great history of anti-colonial struggle of Kenyans for their land and their culture, rampaged by the imperialist occupation. Again, to those who have just joined us, this is Culture of Resistance, Voices of Courage, an online cultural event by ILPS Commission 10. We are live here in Zoom and also in the Facebook of ILPS Commission 10. So let's keep our feet dancing. Yes, feel free to dance even with the performances, even at your home, because next is another showcase of traditional dance called Togal Jagoy by the indigenous Manipuri people.
ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕꯃꯛꯇꯗ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯄꯨꯝꯅꯃꯛꯄꯨ ꯈꯨꯔꯨꯝꯖꯔꯤ ꯉꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯇꯝꯖꯈ꯭ꯔꯤꯕ ꯖꯒꯣꯏ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯃꯤꯡ ꯊꯧꯒꯜ ꯖꯒꯣꯏ ꯀꯧꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯖꯒꯣꯏ ꯑꯁꯤ ꯆꯍꯤꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯎꯃꯪ ꯂꯥꯏ ꯍꯔꯥꯎꯕꯗ ꯇꯝꯖꯕ ꯈꯨꯗꯣꯜ ꯑꯃꯅꯤ ꯆꯍꯤꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯀꯨꯝꯍꯩ ꯑꯗꯨꯗ ꯏꯕꯨꯙꯧ ꯑꯃꯗꯤ ꯏꯕꯦꯟꯗꯧꯒꯤ ꯃꯐꯝꯗ ꯂꯝꯗꯝ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯇꯪꯗꯨ ꯂꯩꯇꯥꯅꯕ ꯆꯥꯍꯣꯡ ꯉꯥꯍꯣꯡꯅꯕ ꯊꯧꯅꯤꯖꯕ ꯖꯒꯣꯏ ꯃꯈꯜ ꯑꯃꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯖꯒꯣꯏ ꯑꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯅꯥꯠꯅꯤ ꯏꯅꯥꯠꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁꯛꯇꯥꯛꯅꯤ ꯊꯥꯒꯠꯆꯔꯤ
After that beautiful performance from Manipur in India's northeast, let us now listen to Malem Niltoja of Campaign for Peace and Democracy, also from Manipur, to paint us a picture of the ongoing struggles of the masses and the indigenous communities of Northeast India.
Northeast India is inhabited by more than 100 numerically small indigenous peoples. This region became part of India after the lapse of British paramountcy in the late 1940s. This region is important for India for two basic reasons. One is geostrategic interest. Number two, economic interest. This region is very, very poor in industrial growth, however, very rich in natural resources. This region also serves as an important gateway to the Southeast Asian markets for the government of India who wants to keep these regions under a strong control and hands. Interestingly, after the adoption of the neoliberal policies and the open door policies in 1991, a government of India has taken a very different role in these regions. What we find today is India's collaborations with monopoly finance capitalist countries such as the United States of America, Japan, Korea, and other countries that supports finance capitalism. As a result of these collaborations, today in northeastern regions, there is strong influence of international finance institutes such as the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and so on. The operational mechanisms of this collaboration is an increasing investments for extractive industries, an increase in the volume and the quantity of monopoly trade, unrestrained constructions of trade components related infrastructures and transportations mechanisms. At the same time, in order to make all these things happen possible in a very fast rate, there is strong investments to neutralize any form of resistance by the indigenous peoples. It leads to heavy militarizations and policing, and it also leads to creation of what we call puppet regimes in the different administrative units of Northeast India. On the other hand, there is promotion of the elements of semi-feudalism, tribalism, communalism, and local reactions. All these combine to have an impact on the promotions of divisive forces who wielded political power and accumulations of wealth through exploitations and unfair means, leading to a complete chaos and anarchical situation in the region. The result of all these programs is very, very destructive. The destructive results are ecological destructions, underdevelopment of the economy, leading to the lower per capita incomes of these regions, heavy displacements, violations of indigenous rights, and violations of political and economic rights. Unfortunately, despite the attempt by various progressives and the democratic forces to put up a stiff resistance to these economic, political, social, and cultural onslaughts by the market forces and the forces of neoliberalism, the indigenous peoples movement in these regions remained weakened due to the various repressive and neutralizing tendencies. Number one is sectarianism, which leads to mutually destructive tendencies. This sectarianism has been largely the result of ideological inconsistency of the movement in these regions with the global indigenous peoples' struggles against neoliberalism and finance capitalism. As a result of this ideological lapse and the weaknesses in the political strategy, these movements are carried out sporadically and localized. There is a lack of coordinations along common ideology and unified political strategy. We need to overcome these problems. Thank you, Paul, once again.
Imperialist plunder through big dams and destructive mining, funded by international finance institutions and local reactions, widespread human rights violations by brutal militarization, like what's happening in Northeast India, is not new to our indigenous people and national minorities everywhere. Thank you, Malam, for showing how these challenges further open up stronger solidarity across tribes, peoples, and nations in their aspiration for self-determination and their anti-imperialist fight. This time, let us watch Carlo Hornilla from Kamandag, or the Artists and Writers Collective Against Development Aggression, in his poem about the indigenous Aita in Central Luzon, Philippines.
During one of our immersions in Sitio Kalangitan, one of the Aita communities in Tarlac, we met a few people who are employed in the development of New Clark City. They're getting paid for the construction of golf courses and roads, and I find it ironic that these people are getting paid to destroy their own homes, to destroy their own forests, their farms. And what's more bothering is that there is no actual plan to relocate them or to provide them livelihood after the construction or the development has finished. And it brings to mind the story of Aaron and the golden calf in the book of Exodus. Although Aaron was not really evil, it was not his idea to create this statue. He didn't really do anything to stop it from happening, and I guess that's the problem with most of us. Although we were not the ones who were doing evil things to our friends, to other people, the problem is we're not really doing anything to stop evil things from happening to them. So we need to speak out. We need to let other people hear these stories at least. And this poem is my way of doing something for them. Tumulog ang taong bayan kay Aaron, nangihingi ng isang bagong Panginoon. At ang sabi ni Aaron, kunin ninyo ang inyong mga hikaw, singsing at mga porselas, at lilikha tayo ng isang ginintoang bukas. Sa bangkay ng bundok natutulog ang isang sanggol na syudad. Binubulabog ng bulldozer ang isang payapang komunidad. Bukas ang kanyang mga anak ay maghuhubad ng bahag, magsusuot ng helmet at ng overalls, babayaran para dumurog ng bato, magbuwal ng mga puno, humulman ng ginto. Bukas ang kanyang mga anak ay uutusang magluto ng mga putahing may lason, magpanday ng mga kutsilyong isasaksak sa sarili dahil ano nga ba naman ang kanilang kapakanan kumpara sa kinang ng New Clark City. Ang mga Aita sa Tarlac ay tinutulak ng isang makabagong eksodo. Subalit sa pagkakataong ito, sila'y papalayo mula sa lupa ng kanilang pulot at gata hanggang hintay na lamang ba sa pagdating ng isang Moises, sa pagsigaw ng isang galit na boses para wasakin ang gintong baka. Sila'y hinihingan ng titulo. Silang hindi maabutan ng edukasyon at ng mga pangkalusugang serbisyo. Sila'y hinihingan ng titulo. Dahil sa lipunang ito, mas mabigat ang kapirasong papel kaysa siglo-siglong mga kalyo buhat sa pagtatanim sa lipunang ito. Mas matimbang ang kapirasong papel kaysa buhay at kabuhayan ng tao. Mas mahalaga ba talaga ang kaunlarang ipinangutang pa sa ibang bansa? Bago humangas sa mga larawan, bago pumalakpak sa mga balita, isipin mo muna kung sino ba talaga dito yung maikinabang at sino ba dito yung magbabayad lang ng utang. Kung sa pagbabago ay may mga pamilyang mawawalan, kung sa pagbabago ay may mga mabuburang pamayanan, kung sa pagbabago ay ilang grupo yung yumayaman, matatawag nyo ba itong kaunlaran? Matatawag nyo ba itong kaunlaran? Hindi kayang tunawin ng payapang pag-andap ng kandila ang mga gintong baka. Apoy tayong sumilab dahil kung minsan, kung sino pa yung sumasalungat ay siyang tunay na sumasang-ayon sa kalooban niya. Dahil kung sino pa yung nagagalit, kung sino pa yung tumitindig, sila yung tunay na umiibig.
Thank you so much, Carlo, and thank you to Kamandag for that poem. For all those watching here in Zoom and to your friends, you can invite them. They can also watch through ILPS Commission 10 Facebook Live. So please like and follow us. Just look for ILPS Commission 10. And also, we'd like to welcome and shout out to all our watchers and participants from the Philippines, Australia, West Papua, Manipur, Bangladesh, and from other countries. Please share and invite your friends. There will be a replay this 9 p.m. Philippine time. At this moment, another set of beautiful songs is coming from our comrades from West Papua. Let's welcome Ronnie Kareni, a Papuan exile in Australia who grew up in a refugee camp in Papua New Guinea with the Black Orchid String Band. Let's listen to their songs and stories.
Hello, this is Ronnie Kareni from the Black Orchid String Band group. Black Orchid String Band is comprised of West Papuan and Australian musicians, singers, and activists. Our songs reflects mostly upon the ongoing self-determination struggle for our people inside as well as in diaspora. This song that we'll be presenting, it's called Mystery of Life. It was written in Bahasa Indonesia and then translated into English by one of our member in the group, Jacob Rumbiak, who is also the spokesperson for the United Liberation Movement for West Papua. The song was originally written and recorded by late Arnold App on a reel-to-reel tape in prison. It reflects the dying moment of Arnold App in prison, but also poetically describe Papuans being prisoners in their own land. I hope you enjoy this song, Mystery of Life. Salam Merdeka.
This is a life full of mystery.
dream for is what I'm waiting for. There's nothing else, only freedom. You can't imagine it, I'm a nigga on high, soaring above and searching below. But what a pity I'm not afraid, only to be hunted by the hunter. What I'm in for is what I'm waiting for. There's nothing else, only freedom. What I'm in for is what I'm waiting for. There's nothing else, only freedom. What I'm in for is what I'm waiting for. There's nothing else, only freedom. There's nothing else, only
Hello, this is Ronnie from the Black Orchid String Band. And on behalf of the string band group, I want to say thank you to be able to participate in this cultural performance. This song that we'll be singing, it's called Yapo Mama Chicha, and it's in the Asmat Merauke Regency. And the song is about coming together and celebrate life, as well as celebrate the spirit of resilience. And it reflects on how people coming together, and in the moments when you feel down or you feel low, but by sharing your stories, singing together, it strengthens each other to keep on looking on the bright side and keeping on fighting for what you believe in. So on behalf of the group, I hope you enjoy this song, Yapo Mama Chicha. Salam Merdeka.
Yapo mama ya icha kakari mama Yapo mama chicha kakari mama Yapo mama ya icha kakari mama
Free West Papua, Papua Merdeka. What an uplifting song. Thank you, Ronnie and Black Orchid String Band. Next is a message of solidarity and unity to fight against escalating racism and violence towards the people of color in the Black community as we witness the unfolding of the violence and killings in the US today. Here's Mike Africa with his song Time to Rise with a message from Kobe Golori, Chicago Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. Let's all watch this.
All across America, there have been uprisings in response to the racist police and vigilante murders of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, and so many others. This is not a recent phenomenon by any means. This is the result of 400 years of white supremacist terrorism that began with the enslavement of Black people and the genocide of Indigenous people in this country. So right now, we are responding to the use of police as an occupying force in our communities. As Black people, we deserve the right, we have the right to control our own communities, to control the police in our communities, and that is what we are fighting to do. We are fighting to end this police occupation. They're in our schools, they are patrolling the streets day and night, harassing, beating, and torturing people, murdering people in broad daylight, and that is what we are fighting to end. The Chicago Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression is demanding community control of the police so that we have the power not only to expose police crimes, but to end them. We are demanding justice for the victims of these racist murders, and we are demanding a permanent end to this lynching that has plagued this country for so many centuries. We welcome the solidarity of oppressed people all over the world, and we extend that same solidarity to people internationally in their struggle. Thank you.
And welcome to the first Democratic debate in the 2020 race for president.
Rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go. Time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go. Tired and sick of these so-called leaders cause problems and blame it on the people. They want to take what they can from you, but when it's time to give back, say screw you. You can fight and give your life for the cause. Call for help, they won't take your call. You can vote and help put them in the office. Die in the war, they ain't laying in the coffin. They don't care about the people. They just want to get a steady paycheck, oh yes. They could not care less about the country. Drill every mineral out, no less. That's why so many people are outraged. They see through the scam and scheme. And all this money this system funneling don't help poor people rub in the stream. Look at how they attack us at the pipeline, poison our water like they did the coastline. We say no for the sake of our health. They bring cops in armed to bring death, just like they did the Puerto Rican, trying to turn him into a weak man. Stole his land and colonized the natives, just like they did the people of this land. They so hella out of pocket. Anything good you got, they stop it. Any system that work, they block it. Take what's good and give you the rotten. History repeating like thick and cotton. Take a number, all the forgotten. The revolution rolling over evil and true to yo. Get yourself a good seat and watch. It's time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go. Time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go. Time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go. Time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go. I'm so fed up with these people telling me the problem is all in my mind. That everything is cool, I'm imagining things, ain't nothing going wrong, everything is fine. Just because they convince so many idiots to believe in the game they running. If they think they gonna get away with this plan, now check, they got another thing coming. Loud and arrogant intimidation. What we face is extermination. Got no love in them cause they Satan. Donald Trump is a stone cold racist. They hating, they crazy, they ain't never gonna let you lead this nation. Incarcerating enslaving. Better look elsewhere to find your saving. They don't care about the people, never did. They're trying to make the Indian man all gone. They kill each other and sing about it. The American anthem is a violent war song. World problems are worse today. The face of the earth is cursed today. Tomorrow politicians will give you the same game to vote for them, and every one of them will betray. Wilson, Good Street, Nutter, and Larry. Donald Trump, Nixon, and Barry. Clinton, Bush, and Terminator. Same job, political exterminator. We on our own and we got one problem. And there ain't just but one solution. Kick these political, parasitical bloodsuckers to the curb and embrace revolution. Time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go. Time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go. Yeah. John Africa said, move ain't talking about changing governments, replacing one corrupt dictator and slaver for another. Move is talking about doing away with all forms of external government and replacing it with the government of self. Yeah. Time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. Donald Trump has got to go. Time to rise. Clinton, Bush, got to go. Time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go. Time to rise. It's time to rise and reach and overthrow. Time to rise. These lying politicians got to go.
Definitely, with all the oppression and all the violence we're experiencing now, it's the time for everyone to rise. Now for our next performance, let's travel to Bangladesh Chittagong Hill Tracts, where the struggle of the indigenous Juma persists through the years of killings, oppression, displacement, and landlessness. Here's a poem from Smarnika Chakma, an indigenous human rights activist from the tribal community of CHT.
মাদো ফিতিমিয়ানি কুনু করোনা দঙ্গাই বুড়ি আগে দি মিনিদর ফত্তান দি সৎমেল লাগের ত ইদু এবার সেলাইউ লুমিনো ফারঙর সরকার জি আফিতিমির মান বলা ইউএন হুয়ে দেয় ব্যাকুনুর লগে ফারো থেবার সেনে মনে হলেই লুমিনো ফারঙর লিমা মাদু মুই সাবনে দেগর রিপ এককান জুমোর আমত তলে তুই বই আগত দগিনু বুইয়ের বার গাজে বাজে নাজদন সে লগে মনে হলো দে তুই মরে হয় দিন দুরি বাচ্চি আগত হাক্কন ফর মন মুরোর দিগুলি ফট ফারি তসিদু মুইলু মুই তুই আজি মরে সে আগত তাগত গড়ি ফাগানা দানানি হেই হাই মেমে ছাগলি মরে ইনিবার চালুলি মই তারে দাবে দিবার তিরোজে দাবা দিল সিতুন এনেই সাঙ্গে তুই সে জাগানত নেই এন্দগে জাগত করি ঘুমতুন জাগিল সবনান ভাঙি গেল মাদু শুনঙতে করোনার সমারে নাহি ফাদারঙা গুণ মিল্লুন যা তা গড় দুয়ারত ঠিকটি বইয়ের দ হিলাদন নই মুই জবর থুরি আগং মা করোনা গঙি গেলে ঠিকটি বইয়ের জিন্নি জেদসাত হামাক্কাই তসিদু লুমিম্মি ম সবনানি মিলি দুরিম্মি মুই তরে যে হত্তমান খোঁজ পাং মা তুই জুনি খবর ফেদে বাচ্চাক মা হামাক্কাই তয় দুলুমিম্বি Hello dear indigenous brother and sister, solidarity to you all. I am Sharnika Chakma from Chittagong Hill Tracts in Bangladesh. I hope you are all safe in your country with your family and your community. By this pandemic situation, our people also fighting like a mainstream people in this world. I know we are all fighting for our socio-economical and political rights. I believe we all unite wherever we are living in this world. Today, I'm reciting a poem. I wrote this poem by my own language. I dedicate this poem to the indigenous people rights activists whom are dreaming for a safe life and motherland. And I replied in this poem about IP peoples whom are fighting with exploiter for their decent life and human rights. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the poem. Bangladesh, let's go back to the Philippines, up north to its mountainous Cordillera region, the home of our indigenous Igorot brothers and sisters. We're lucky to witness two performances from the Ayan Ticultura Iti Cordillera, or DKK, an alliance of cultural workers, groups and organizations in the Cordillera with an objective to safeguard the cultural heritage and promote a scientific, nationalist, and mass-oriented culture. In solidarity to all the freedom-loving people, here are Salidumay songs entitled Tumurad, or Be Brave, or Be Daring, and Itultuloy, or Continuing, which pose the continuing challenge for all sectors and ages, especially the youth and the communities, to unify for defend their land, life, and resources from aggression and continue to fight for a peaceful and just society. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the deep-seated bankruptcy of our current system dominated by imperialism. It has also worsened the systemic marginalization of our indigenous peoples, national minorities, and oppressed nationalities. To tell us more about the grave impact of COVID-19, the attacks to the sector, and the challenges to everyone, here is Ms. Joanna Carino of Cordillera People's Alliance, Sandugo, Movement of Moro Indigenous Peoples for Self-Determination, and Selda, Northern Luzon.
The whole world is now reeling from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Countries all over have closed their borders and locked down. As people are forced to stay home and maintain physical distancing, from one another, unemployment has loomed large. Hunger has struck millions of people with all of the concomitant social effects of poverty and depression. As always, the most affected are the poor, the deprived, and the oppressed. Among them, the indigenous peoples and national minorities. In addition to the health and economic crisis, the human rights situation in countries under authoritarian rule has worsened, as in the Philippines. President Duterte has been granted emergency powers, and they are fast-tracking an amended National Security Act. More than 150,000 people nationwide have been picked up for supposedly violating quarantine protocols. Critics have been arrested and charged. There has been no let-up on red baiting and military operations. ILPS Chair Emeritus Jose Maria Sison has said that in any kind of crisis, the best of the people and the social activists stand out and shine. Many civic-minded citizens and groups have pitched in to mitigate government's shortfalls. At the community level, they create ways for the people to have food, shelter, and medical care, and to engage in mutual help. They call from donations from those who have more to be distributed to those who have less. They do not get paid for their volunteer work, as this is their way of living out the activist slogan, to serve the people. While there is the necessity for physical distancing, there is, more importantly, the need for social solidarity as the world battles the deadly COVID-19 virus. The pandemic has unmasked the greed, selfishness, wastefulness, and harmfulness of imperialism, which has been the source of social inequality, environmental destruction, climate change, and most other global crises that humanity has been confronted with. It is time to take stock and work towards a new normal. No more business as usual, as what was accepted as normal before COVID-19 was the dominant capitalist neoliberal order of profit before people that has brought about the present global disorder. Let us draw the important lessons from the survivals of the communal core value system of indigenous communities worldwide. Common ownership of ancestral domain and the means of production. Community interest before private interest. Stewardship of the environment for the succeeding generations. Production for the common good. Mutual help. Food sharing. Frugality. Simple living. People before profit. These altruistic communal core values have survived the test of time because they have relevance for all times. It is time now to work for system change and a more humane socialist future.
Okay, talking about the attacks of COVID-19, I would like to promote IPMSDL's newest publication report, Weaponizing Pandemic, Attacking Indigenous Peoples. You can access this through our Facebook account, International Indigenous Peoples Movement for Self-Determination and Liberation. Okay, moving on, another poem will be performed to us by Crystal Selwood of Samoan and Papuan lineage, also a member of Yung Solwara Pacific. Let's all watch this.
Hi, my name is Crystal Elizabeth Furi Selwood Jufa. This is my poem, My Skin, My Raincoat. Possible to feel welcome in my own home, I call my skin my raincoat. Stars that seemed only alive when you're about to leave falsely in your gravel seat sinking boat. Saw my mother get dragged by the limb, beaten by that thing they call protection. By the man who carelessly wiped not a flinch of his grin as he pulled her. I could not shed a tear, rather cry within my blood cells that boiled in the entrails of my, what is it called? A pulsating, throbbing thing on the left side of my chest, so bare and battered, that has been snatched along with my, what do you call it? That voracious act, without chains so invisible, that hurt without restraint, where I can stand alongside what I want to say. Freedom. My freedom? My brother of 200 kilometers, and my father, without a foresight left in him, who refuses to believe me anymore. I feel I have feet that refuse to work anymore, with bones that refuse to function, a tongue that's stuck and cannot move, hands that don't feel a scent of attention. Help me, my brother. I'm only drowning in this flood of repressed affection and hand-picked restraints of whips that hurt no more. My truth you only see in black and white, detaining me of my culture, my land, my children. I've been sour sipping crude cups of neglect filled with nonity but faceless words, and stray. I'm shackled in my own despondency, but I won't fall. I will live on, for I call my skin my raincoat. So my poetry, this poem was written about the West Papuans, how they don't know when their mother will be taken from them. A child will not know when their mother will be taken from them. Today, tomorrow, their father beaten, dragged. Freedom cannot be uttered from their lips. They know not of a freedom that we so selfishly give away and take for granted. Young Sowara produces art and expresses people's struggles through that art, poetry, dancing, choreography, all around the Pacific. Young Sowara also fights for peace and self-determination. And one day we all hope to achieve that peace amongst us all, to live with our brethren in West Papua and call ourselves sovereign, and only then will we be free.
Waging one of the longest civil wars in the world that spanned for almost 7 decades, the indigenous Karen in Burma remain one of the most admirable people forwarding their fight for genuine peace, self-determination, environmental protection, and liberation. Although embattled by an ongoing war and conflict, an imperialist invasion, they always find time to carry on their courageous heritage, like this next performance of Karen people playing their traditional harp called Tana.
Did
Everyone who just joined us again, this is Culture of Resistance, Voices of Courage, part of the ILPS week of Anti-Imperialist Struggle. Similar to the Karens, driven out from their ancestral lands due to militarization, bombings, and harassments to give way to transnational and local corporate projects, indigenous Lumad of Mindanao in the Philippines are also in constant struggle to assert their land and rights. With happy and militant songs of struggle, here are the Lumad Bakwit students with their songs Paragaski or Continue and Moning Kalisod about the masses who always welcome those evacuees far from their home and families.
Maayo na daw sa awanan, ikan sa Lumad Bakwit School, ang bigla kanunay.
In a week of anti-imperialist struggle, we would like to extend our solidarity with our co-indigenous people all over the world. And the song that was performed by my students is talk about together we stand, together we defend our ancestral land, our ancestral domain, and together we will defend our rights for self-determination and education. Thank you!
Thank you so much to our Lumad Bakit students. And now, let's go to Latin America to listen to a song performed during a mobilization led by Pueblos Indigenas from Mayan Chiorti communities in Olopa, Chiquimala, Guatemala, in resistance against worsening poverty. With a special introduction from Ms. Norma Sancir, an indigenous Mayan Cachiquel and communicator for Prensa Comunitaria and Central Campesina Chorti Nuevo Dia.
Les mando un fuerte abrazo solidario, que esta actividad que ustedes están realizando de cultura, de resistencia, voces de coraje, sea un espacio para seguirnos motivando a todos y todas los que estamos desde nuestros países. Les mando un fuerte abrazo desde América Central, específicamente del país de Guatemala, un país de pueblos indígenas. Soy comunicadora comunitaria, haciendo comunicación para los pueblos en resistencia. En los últimos 10 años he podido conocer las resistencias de mi país y también conocer las resistencias de sus países y de otros países que están denunciando, que están protestando, que están alzando su voz para proteger la madre tierra, los cerros, las montañas, el agua, la vida. Así que en medio de esta crisis mundial esperemos que podamos seguir trabajando desde estas nuevas modalidades virtuales y a seguir haciendo lo que nos toca desde nuestros saberes, desde nuestros sentires. Les mando un fuerte abrazo fraterno y que las energías y que el Creador del universo nos puedan seguir acompañando en este caminar de la vida.
En 3 aldeas de Olopa una mina está explotando y mis hermanos y hermanas ya se están manifestando porque no quieren que se siga destrozando nuestras montañas porque se van a acabar. Sacaremos ese fuego en la barra, sacaremos ese fuego de la Olopa, sacaremos esa mina de Olopa y a la chingada pues nos vamos a matar. Los campesinos empezaron a informarse que la minera no traía nada bueno, que con engaño a nuestra tierra han llegado y organizados pues los vamos a sacar. Sacaremos esa mina de Olopa, sacaremos esa mina de Olopa, sacaremos esa mina de Olopa y a la chingada pues vamos a pasar. Sacaremos esta mina de Olopa, sacaremos esta mina de Olopa, sacaremos esta mina de Olopa y a la chingada pues nos vamos a tomar. Organizados estamos listos en la lucha, por nuestros hijos, bosque y agua no hay nada que nos detenga. Hoy bajo el sol, bajo la lluvia y bajo el hambre, por nuestra vida, por la tierra canto yo. Sacaremos esa mina de Olopa, sacaremos esa mina de Olopa, sacaremos esa mina de Olopa y a la chingada pues nos vamos a matar. ¡Fuera! ¡Fuera! En 3 aldeas de Olopa una mina está explotando y mis hermanos y hermanas ya se están manifestando, porque no quieren que se siga destrozando nuestras montañas, porque se van a acabar. Sacaremos ese buen de la barranca, sacaremos ese buen de la barranca, sacaremos esa mina de Olopa, y a la chingada pues nos vamos a matar. Los campesinos empezaron a informarse que la minera no traía nada bueno, que con engaño a nuestra tierra han llegado, y organizados pues los vamos a sacar. Sacaremos esta mina de Olopa, sacaremos esa mina de Olopa, sacaremos esa mina de Olopa, y a la chingada pues nos vamos a matar. Sacaremos esta mina de Europa, sacaremos esta mina de Europa, sacaremos esta mina de Europa, y a la chingada pues nos vamos a matar. Organizados estamos listos en la lucha, por nuestros hijos, bosque y agua, no hay nada que nos detenga. Hoy bajo el sol, bajo la lluvia y bajo el hambre, por nuestra vida, por la tierra canto yo. Sacaremos esta mina de Olopa, sacaremos esta mina de Olopa, sacaremos esta mina de Olopa, y a la chingada pues nos vamos a matar. ¡Fuera! ¡Fuera!
Thank you so much for our indigenous brothers and sisters from Guatemala. We are in the last parts of our program, but we still have a few more performances. Thank you for everyone who stayed with us here in Zoom and also in Facebook Live. We're gonna have a replay later at 9 p.m. Philippine time, so you can please invite everyone, your friends who missed this first show. For our next number, let's watch the combined performances from our Dayak brothers and sisters from Borneo and Sarawak.
So essentially, it was an agreement between the government in the UK, the government of Malaya, Singapore, Sarawak, and the government of North Borneo, or Sabah it was then called. All these countries, who were all formerly ruled by the UK, will come together to form a new political entity called the Federation of Malaysia. You have to remember, during the era that we're talking about, Southeast Asia was in the middle of the Cold War. Britain had every intention of setting up a single political entity in this part of the world that was to be pro-Western and basically pro-UK. So they wanted all the colonies to come together, and they saw Tunku Abdul Rahman as the best person to put it together.
The Ngajat dance originated from the Iban community and has been passed down from generation to generation. The male dancers wear headgear from a long-tailed feather of the hornbill birds. He holds a long sword in one hand, and the other hand will hold a decorated shield. The dancer makes slow movements as though stalking their enemy. The Ngajat dance is believed to have been performed by warriors on their return from the battle.
Tanya tare company kengumai tare Ariaya paswa Ariaya sejak kerja company kuya.
So he says that their main problem is their land are being taken away and their logs. You see, the timber company came in and took away their logs without telling them, and they were surprised to hear that they were told that this area belongs to the company, it doesn't belong to them. And he says that they've been living here for many years, so they are not happy with the logging company.
Head up, head up, head up, head up, riot, stop bottom them, stop bottom them.
Apa yang memang ke company aja.
I see.
Narep tadi kerajaan.
So they, after they stop, the logging company stopped for a while, and then he says that the police here doesn't belong to the people, doesn't belong to the government, but belongs to the company. The police here are more to the company, the logging company. Instead of protecting people, the police are protecting the logging company.
Our people take our rights and no more megadam in Sarawak. Stop all megadam in Sarawak. Our people's safety is more important than our safety. We want to protect our forest. We want to protect our land. Save our people. Save our people. Save our people. No more megadam. This is our message. Tell all the people inside there.
Heard. Okay. Your message is heard. Yeah. Also, you need to
talk.
You need to talk.
We have written to Prime Minister. We have written to SEB. Written to so many authorities, but they the just neglect the voice of the people.
Do not.
Can you mediate? Can you mediate on that? Can you mediate on that, sir?
Sorry?
Can you mediate on that? State government and our people. Can you mediate?
We will try. You have my sincere promise. Okay.
You are so.
Yo, jangan buat dem. Yo, jangan buat dem. Webi, jangan buat dem. Webi, jangan buat dem.
Pulau kami, sejak pemakai kami, menua kami, ngai kami mereka.
Yeah. The government told them that all these forests belongs to the government and the land belongs to the government, but they say no. All the land belongs to them. The great-grandparents cut down the trees and they reserve the land for hunting ground and for wood, for building long houses. So they says that this is our land. We are not going to run away from here, and we are going to fight. Ngelaban kita kan?
Ngelaban. Ya, ketua sidaya nih. Jadi kusidat ini lisian kita. Kembali bisa lisian. Jadi kami bisa melisian. Padahal berdaun tu pala dia pun.
Okay. Now, the logging company says that they were given license and they have a license to cut down the trees. And the Longhouse folks also said, we also have our license. Look at all the heads that we have cut. These are our license. So, you get what I mean. Berpumpuang pala. Ya.
Ngau ngenan kemnuar, saya pala. Berpumpuang dah. Nyak Malaysian kami.
Yeah. So he says, that's our license. Heads. So we are the headhunters. So make sure no more headhunters. So don't want them to cut down the trees anymore.
In the brew, fresh from the tap, Talak and Monkodu, exotic like Balsam of Peru, the kind you addict yourself to. Indigenous, I'm a Dusun man. Grandpa, another rebel Dusun man. Fight the war for my motherland against enemy who wanna take my land. Don't pretend what's going on. Since 63 you cast your votes on. Promised to sing you a freedom song, but damn now all the dreams are gone. Let's Azao do the Sumazao. Dusun MC show you how. North Borneo, South China Sea, land of the free since 63.
Some call it Tala, some call it moonshine. Country folks say it makes your head go light. Drinking some before dessert. Knock you out and sleep on the dirt.
A rap rebel, I'm bad to the bone. Dusun version of the French Saint John. Live or die is not the will of my own, cause a sinner can't cast the first stone. Dusun life, born for the tribal land. Beat the gongs with my bare country hands. Country folks living a better day, but politics always got the final say. Politicians split gold from the land when folks put their heads into the sand. Dramatized media take your land away. Gamble all your money in the UK. Let's Azao do the Sumazao. Dusun MC show you how. North Borneo, South China Sea, land of the free since 63.
Some call it Tala, some call it moonshine. Country folks say it makes your head go light.
Hi everybody.
How you doing?
I'm good. I was told that this is a place, a special place in New York, where people from all over the world who have ideas through poetry and rhymes can come to be part of a global love. I'm from Borneo. This is my first time in New York. I'm a tribal poet and lyricist for my people back home. I have something to share in English. Aku berkorano to all my Topinais, my Odu, my Akis, my Inais and my Mais. To the Tanak Wagos sipping on tapay from Dabata to Kampung Marabahay. I've been gone for quite a long time. The haters make a fuss like I made some crime. But it's payback time with this fresh dope rhyme. Mother hip hop is coming up to the prime, but this time I'm heading international. I spin boomerang like the Aboriginal. I fight for indigenous rights made equal, non-stop like a Predator sequel. Flowing like the rhythms of the Tabasan, like the Muruts, Dusun Bajo and Kadazans. Atukoy! This place is so good. Do that Sumazo cause you know you could. My second verse is gonna get tougher. My game plans change cause times got rougher. So open your mind and focus your attention, cause I gotta mention some complication about the tribal kids in my tribal nation. They walk 5 miles for their education. They go to school with blistered feet. Some got no birth cert and no food to eat. The rainforest is dying, it's gone forever. Logging and corruption destroyed it together. Illegal logs stored in illegal shipyards just wait to be sold like illegal mine carts. But I flow with the rhythms of the Tabasan, like the Muruts, Dusun Bajo, Kadazans. Atukoy! This beat's so good, so do that salsa cause you know you could. But let me end this rhyme with Kopi Vosian. To the people of the world, especially Asians, from the hip-hop warriors of the Sabahan land, 32 tribes of my headhunting clan. My name is Atama, and I'm the MC of the pack, Prince of the land, and I'm the king of the map. Ready to flow, I don't cut any crap. Anytime, anywhere, I'm ready to attack. Cause I got this new rhyme and I got this new beat. Village melodies and rhythms of the street. Sumazao music is not obsolete. It takes hip-hop to make it more complete. So come on everybody, throw your hands in the air. Do the Sumazao like you just don't care. Make you feel good, nothing else can compare. The name is Atama, somebody say, oh yeah.
We're now down to the last two performances for this event. The issue of land is a multidimensional aspect that weaves and intersects with the political, economic, cultural, and social identities. The next performance, a music video from the alternative media group Southern Tagalog Exposure, highlights the fight of indigenous Dumagat in the Philippines for land and life.
I'm Kakay Tolentino, an indigenous Dumagat of Sierra Madre Mountain. On Potok is an indigenous Dumagat song of our struggle on land. The word on Potok is a local dialect meaning the land. This song was sung by the indigenous people and children in the community. The children is always singing this on Potok during our numeracy and literacy in 1980s when the issue of Kaliwakanan Dam project construction during the Marcos era. This song and video was created during the massive militarization in the indigenous communities in Southern Tagalog region in the early 2000s that caused many human rights violations and enforced evacuation of indigenous Mangyans from Mindoro Island and indigenous Dumagat from Sierra Madre, and now and until now, that the Duterte Build platform is focusing on the construction of Kaliwakanan Dam. This song and video is our inspiration as indigenous Dumagat to pursue our struggle and fight against the Duterte China Deal's Kaliwakanan Laiban Dam project. Our fight is for the indigenous rights to land, resources, livelihood, and self-determinations against imperialist plunder. Stop all development, aggression in all IP territories and ancestral lands. Stop militarization. Stop the killing of indigenous people during this pandemic. No to imperialist plunder. Fight for indigenous people's self-determination. Long live international solidarity And thank you.
Potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok ng lupang nilikha ni makijabat. Kakmukati agta para sa mga dumagat sa pusod ng Sierra Madre. Tahimik ang aming daigdig nang dumating ang mga gahaman, dala ay ligalig. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok ng lupang nilikha ni makijabat. Binulabog na ng ingay ng lagaring demakina. Ang yaman ng katubatay kanilang kinukuha. Panaghoy ng Sierra Madre, aming ina. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok ng lupang libingan ng aming ninuno. Lalamunin na ng tubig ng dam na itatayo. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. Ayan yan na de para de oras. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. On potok na yan na din ni makijabat. Ayan yan na de para de oras.
I hope you're all dancing with me, with the music, beautiful music of our indigenous peoples. Moving to our closing performance. The next video will show us a powerful traditional song and dance from Kenya, performance of the aspiration to reclaim their rightful place in their ancestral Mau forest as indigenous Maasai. This will be introduced by indigenous Ogiek leader Daniel Kubey. Let's all watch and be moved by this.
This video from Kablelaj women group is one of the strong women group in Masai Mara forest, or originally the Ogiek forest. They praise the culture, the issues of Mao forest complex in terms of the nature, that Mao is their home. They praise what is found in Mao, the herbs, the honey, the good air, and that this is the home of their ancestors. And they will continue. In their song, they were able to mention a lot of trees, their names, and their use, and they praise the importance of Mao being the home of the ancestors. This is where our fathers were buried. And in their song, they give a lot of emphasis that they should be allowed to continue protecting and preserving Mao forest.
Thank you so much for that very powerful performance. Before our closing speaker, let me take the opportunity to thank everyone for joining us, and most of all those who made this event possible, to Mr. Aaron Seradoy and Noel of ILPS Asia Pacific and Asia Pacific Mission for Migrants for helping in our technical preparation, ILPS Global Secretariat, to IPMSDL and all the performers, speakers. Here's their logo. Thank you so much. To our friends, organizations, alliances, and to good health amid this pandemic and unwavering imperialism. And to all of you, especially the individuals who shared their solidarity, watch out for the video of our symbolic unity and action with our cause, struggle for self-determination and down with imperialism. Now to close our program, let's hear it from ILPS Secretary General Lisa Maza.
Solidarity greetings to our friends and comrades in the indigenous communities, the oppressed nationalities and nations, and the national minorities who responded to the ILPS call for mobilization and action on this week of anti-imperialist struggle. I congratulate the ILPS Commission 10 and the International Indigenous Peoples Movement for self-determination and liberation for bringing us together today in a celebration of our struggles through cultural exchange. There is a cause to celebrate, for today we bring to the fore the indigenous peoples and minority nationalities and nations' long history and rich culture of resistance against imperialism and for self-determination. You have fought against imperialist plunder of your ancestral lands and territories. You have organized to stop mining, logging and agribusiness corporations, as well as foreign-funded infrastructure projects and capitalist development aggression that only caused your eviction, displacement and dislocation, and intensified your discrimination, impoverishment, and marginalization. You have courageously resisted the repression of your human rights, your collective rights, your right to development, and your right to self-determination. You have sacrificed your lives as you resist the wars of aggression waged by the imperialist powers and their local lackeys on your lands, your culture, and your way of life. Amid the pandemic, the vulnerabilities of the indigenous peoples and minority population became more acute due to prevailing conditions of hunger, poverty, inaccessible social services, and lack of social protection. These conditions stem from decades of neoliberal policies of the dominant imperialist system that prioritized private profit instead of public good. Even as you reel from the impact of the pandemic, multinational mining corporations take advantage of the situation and continue their exploitation of your land and your resources. In many parts of the world, fascist and authoritarian regimes weaponize the pandemic to impose stricter and martial law-like measures to stifle dissent and repress the people, including indigenous peoples and minority nationalities. Sanctions and war continue to be waged against the people. Today, corporations and states gear up for the new normal that maintains the old order of imperialism and reaction. But also today, we gather our voices and say that the new normal of imperialism is not what we want nor what we need. We reject this new normal. Today, we stand united in our commitment to end this old system and to carry forward the struggle against imperialism and all reaction, and for national and social liberation and self-determination. Long live international solidarity, down with imperialism.
And now, before we formally end, another shout out to and thank you to the Merdeka West Papua Support Network and all the Free West Papua movement and campaigns who join us today. Thank you so much for making this event possible. May I request all our participants here in Zoom, can you please turn on your camera? Maybe we take a souvenir photo, turn on your videos. And for those watching in Zoom, in Facebook Live, maybe you can send us a selfie of yourself as a solidarity to this event. Okay, let me see everyone. You can wave and maybe let's chant all together. Struggle for self-determination, down with imperialism. Again, may I request everyone to please turn on their videos. So, and for those who are in Facebook Live, maybe you can send us your photo or your video chanting. Again, thank you so much. This event is a part of the ILPS Week of Anti-Imperialist Struggle. And we hope to see you more in the following events. Please follow, like, and subscribe to the accounts of ILPS Commission 10 and the ILPS International for more events like this during this time and more of our struggles and campaigns and unities. Thank you so much, everyone. And for our closing video, here are your videos, video submission of unity. Let's all watch this and thank you. See you again next time.
Struggle.
Nation. Struggle for self-determination.
Struggle for self-determination.
Struggle for self-determination.
Makibaka.
Makibaka.
Makibaka. Makibaka.
Makibaka para sa sariling pagpapasya.
Makibaka para sa sariling pagpapasya. Makibaka para sa sariling pagpapasya.
Makibaka para sa sariling pagpapasya.
Makibaka para sa sariling pagpapasya.
Down with imperialism.
Imperialismo ibagsak.
Down with imperialism.
Imperialismo ibagsak.
Down with imperialism.
Down with imperialism.
Down with imperialism.
Down with imperialism.
Cordillera Moro, lumat at katutubo, nagsalaksang sa lakbayan tumutulo.
Struggle for self-determination.
Down with imperialism.
Struggle for self-determination.
Down with imperialism.
In solidarity. Struggle for self-determination.
Down with imperialism.
Berjuang untuk penentuan diri.
Hancurkan imperialisme.
Struggle for self-determination.
Down with imperialism.
Nasasangan ni beba kandeta kini tamatayan dua.
En kena baksukai na bibau di baktadala en andela ni bibakarei.
Ivo eto nango nao hau katora. Nango to ihare manebe metora.
Ninalikariak, ninagarwang gwiti, kambugun. Papua Merdeka.
Katungod to kaugalingon no pagbuot agun og gawangon kan imperialismo.
Makibiso para sa paggalingong pagbuot.
Makidangadang para itibukot na panagudang supyatan ti imperialismo.
Ipaglaban ang karapatan para sa sariling pagpapasya.
Imperialismo ibagsak.
Ibagsak ang imperialismo.
Makilaban para kang sariling kapasyan. Kamatayan para kang imperialismo.
Struggle for self-determination. Imperialism.
Down, down.
Imperialism.
Down, down.
Imperialism.
Down, down.
Struggle for self-determination. Down with imperialism. 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 Struggle for self-determination. Down with imperialism.